Hi, thanks for watching. It's the Lipstick Gal. And I wanted to do a get ready with me today using something that I can't believe I actually bought. This is the new Natasha Denona Metropolis Palette. It's been sitting here on this kind of display area behind me. It's not really a display, it's where I keep all my makeups. That and an Alex drawer right next door. But it's been sitting on this table behind me for I don't know, weeks, because the day it launched at Sephora, I ordered it. And I don't really know why I ordered it, because I really have been loving smaller palettes. I really have been loving, like, you know, quads and 6, 7 colors in a palette, just like limited number of colors. And this has a lot. But part of it was the fact that it had such, you know, had some beautiful mustard and kind of more olivey green tones. I always love a shimmery gold. And I think that if you cover up this pop here and like this over here, it's so much of a neutral palette. And I accidentally dug my finger into this little corner here of this guy here. But aside from that, I haven't touched it. And miraculously, there's a cat hair in it. I don't know how that happened. My cat leaves hair everywhere. Okay, so it's been a long time since I've recorded a video. I'll get into that as we get going. Thank you for watching today. It's a long intro. Let's just start. I already have on, I keep it upside down because I'm almost at the end. It's my sunscreen from Krave. It's the Beet Sheild. It's SPF 50 with a 4+ PA rating, which is fantastic. Let's throw on some primer. Right in my Alex drawer. And I have fallen back in love with this. This is a limited edition packaging of the Tarte Timeless Smoothing Primer, and I don't take a lot. I just take a little, and I press it in, like really, like legitimately press, all across my nose, even on my septum, because it really does help smooth all of this out. Another thing I started doing is I'm starting to get some noticeable pores on my, like right below my lip. I wouldn't say like chin, but like right in here. So I put some of this here. And another place that I like to put this, and this has just been in the last couple of, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks that I've noticed I've been doing this. And I don't take a lot, but I put some like right here along where my crow's feet are. And I feel like I have products settling less in that area. And it's a very heavy silicone-based primer. So, I mean, you don't really need a lot, but it does, for me, it helps to keep things from settling in if I can kind of fill this area up first. And I've never been one to do that, but I find it helps so much. Today, I'm going to be using the Mercier Flawless Lumier Radiance Perfecting Foundation. I have the shade 1N1. I'm not using a lot. This is 2 pumps, but these pumps are like baby pumps. So I'm going to use my finger to kind of distribute it. I find that this always looks a little bit yellow or slightly warm tinged on my skin until I blend it in, and then I feel like it's like, oh, this is perfect. I don't know if you've ever tried these Juno & Co. microfiber sponges. I have the Rosé, which is their pink one, and this yellow one, which is their lemon drop. I also have the original blue one, which I use to reapply sunscreen over the top of my makeup. It works fairly well. I did it a lot during the summer. I haven't done it in a while, but there is a video that I can link for you where you actually see me doing that. I think the way that these work best is when you use less product than you think you need. I was talking with a friend, and she mentioned that she had picked one of these up and she wasn't sure if she liked it yet. And I said I had the same problem until I backed off on the amount of product I had been using, because like out of those 2 pumps, that's all that's here. Most of it, because a lot of it doesn't get sucked up into the sponge. I mean, obviously some did here, but mostly it presses it into your skin. And so much extra product actually ends up on my skin than it would if I was using a beauty blender or the L'Oreal sponge or the Flower sponge or the Real Technique sponge. Those tend to absorb more product. This one doesn't tend to absorb nearly as much. I'm going to be using, I picked this up during Ulta's 21 Days of Beauty. This is the Bare Minerals Bare Skin Complete Coverage Serum Concealer. I have really been surprised at how great this is. I just have the shade Fair. I think it's their lightest shade. It's a little bit darker than most concealers that I use, but I don't feel like I need a lot. A little blemish I was picking at there. Oh, I was trying to tell my girl, don't pick your skin. And here I am. I'm just going to bounce it in with this the little tip of the sponge here. But I like the way this looks. I feel like it gives a really beautiful, light, but just enough. Like, I feel like I can, if I'm doing makeup for a video, I can wear a lot heavier makeup than I would leave the house in. And this is everyday makeup, both this foundation and this concealer. So I had picked up the foundation late July, early August, and I really haven't had a chance to use it because I've been really sick. Like the whole month of September has just been not good for me. I'm gonna throw on a little bit of the Huda Beauty baking powder in Poundcake with my damp beauty sponge here just along the pore area, not up to the under eyes because I don't like it there, but just across the pores and the nose. Since this is a more radiant foundation, I feel like having a heavier duty powder like this in places where I know my foundation usually breaks up is really what I need. So I'm going to put a little bit of it here on the forehead. I'm not really, I know it's a baking powder and I'm not really using it to bake. I'm using it to lightly dust. Press it in where I need it, my nose, but I'm going to put something else a little bit lighter under the eyes and over the rest of my face. I'm going to go in with the Hourglass Veil Setting Powder here. I really never not loved this powder, but recently, I think it's special. All right, so make sure that none of my concealer is grabbing or bunching. I'll leave it. I can still very clearly see where I've been picking at this blemish here. My sins will find me out. That is for sure. I don't think I'm going to put any more concealer or try and cover it anymore. It's just going to be what it is. So I've been talking way too much. I probably will edit this differently. If you're curious, I put on some of the Take Home the bronzer, and then I stopped putting on makeup and was telling you my story, and I was like, I need to condense this. This is way too long, way too rambly for a video. I had gallbladder surgery on the 5th, went to the ER twice the weekend after, found out that I had a lot of bile collecting in my abdomen, just kind of in places where it shouldn't have been. It was like between all my organs, and my abdomen was full of fluid. They admitted me, did another surgery, placed a drain to drain all of that out. I had the drain for more than a week. They put in, did another surgery. They put in a stent to open the bile duct to make sure the bile, instead of going places it shouldn't, went to where it needed to go, into the stomach and then later into the intestines. So I thought I was fine. Got out of the hospital on Thursday the 12th. On the 13th, I started having some pain, like right below my sternum. And I know you can't see it, but like if you just go straight down here, the same place I was having gallbladder pain before, I was having pain with every swallow of water, every bite of food, every single time, which then led me to not drink as much as I would normally drink. And I normally have like a water bottle, like right here, a 32-ounce water bottle, chock full, that I go through at least 3 times when everything's perfectly normal. And right now I haven't been able to do that. I'm lucky if I get through 1 of those a day because it hurts every time I swallow. Anyway, so I went to see my doctor and he says, I think we're okay. I ended up going back to the ER, and it turns out they did another CT, and I have the previous bile leak that I had in my abdomen, where it was filling up and I was short of breath and I had a partially collapsed lung and I had a 5-day hospital stay and 2 more surgeries. They thought that had been resolved. Well, this is a separate complication. That first complication, that bile leak, is usually less than 1% of gallbladder patients who have their gallbladder removed. I have another freestanding pocket that it's not just going everywhere. It's kind of scarred around it and it's contained and it's in my liver, and that's causing me pain. And that's 0.3%. So I'm like the medical 1%. Oh, it's not been good. Okay, before I continue with blush and highlight, I wanted to put some eyeshadow on. I wanted to tell you, first of all, why I haven't been here. I'm going to use this today. And the hard thing for me has been, I really love doing YouTube, but this is the 3rd time in the month of September that I've actually worn makeup. Maybe the 4th. I did before my surgery, 1 day before my surgery. I can't wear it while you're going into surgery. And I couldn't wear it afterwards because I was feeling terrible, and then I was readmitted to the hospital, so there was no makeup then. And then I was sick for several days after that, and And here's the weird thing, this pain with swallowing water and food every single time, I've lost 23 pounds in the last 12 days. And normally I'd be like, whoa, I'm losing weight. But I'm losing weight so rapidly, I feel like part of my skin is kind of like hanging on me. I feel like my arms are really droopy, my legs are really droopy. And I've been losing weight over the course of the last 18 months. I've lost a lot of weight, but I did it over almost a year and 3/4. It's been more like 20, 21 months now. And I feel like I've been doing a lot to really carefully lose the weight. And now 23 pounds in 12 days, that's not okay. All right, so the one thing I'll tell you about this palette here, I don't see a really light matte shade. This is the lightest matte shade there is. I'm actually just going to use a pressed powder all over my lid just to make sure we're perfectly set. So I'm just going to grab some of the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Diffused Light. It looks like this. And I'm just going to make sure that, because I always put a little concealer on my lid, I just want to make sure that we're well blended. So my health has been terrible and I've missed a lot of uploads. I normally upload Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I just haven't been able to. I've missed a couple of days. I missed on Monday and I missed Saturday this week, and then I missed some time after I had my first surgery, and I had some things pre-recorded, and I ended up running out of content. I think I have one left, but I don't even know if I'll put it up now. But I'm going to start here with this lightest matte shade. I'm excited about this palette. I don't like the sheet here. It does have all the names on it, so I will keep it. Oh, and I haven't peeled the plastic off the mirror yet. Oh, it's one of my favorite things to do. Oh, so satisfying. Straight to the trash can. So I'll use this mirror and let's put on some of this shade. This shade, by the way, is called Rope. I only have two other Natasha Denona palettes. They're the 5-pan palettes. I have one in the old packaging, and then I have one that came in a Beautylish Lucky Box. It was one of the holiday palettes from 2 years ago. I think it was the Aries palette. So it was bright blue and like really warm reds and orange shades. Boy, that like blends itself. This is beautiful. I'm very impressed with this so far. But I have liked the formula, although the Aries palette was not my, I would not have chosen those colors for myself. I think I would probably do better using it now. It's been a while since I've used it. But my favorite one is the number 2, which has more kind of dusty rose plummy shades in there. A beautiful kind of taupey shade that I absolutely adore and I think is fantastic. So I'm not going to take this all the way up to the arch of my brow, but I'm going to take it fairly high above the crease and blend it out here towards the corner of my brow. I'm going to go into this shade right here. This one's called Pure. I'm just going to pick a little bit of that up. And we're going to place it very carefully, tap it right out here just to deepen up this outer bit. I think there have been so many other beautiful Natasha Denona palettes that I've been really intrigued by, but this one, since it has so many warm neutrals in it, I knew this would be one that I would actually use. And I wasn't going to pay $29 for a palette that, the Beet palette really called to me. The Safari palette called to me too. The Gold palette called my name and called my name. And I was so close to picking that up. Oh, that's really pretty. But I didn't. And I think this is the perfect palette for me because it does have a few pops of color. It has some blues. It has some greens. It has some warmer kind of earthy, rusty tones. And then it does have like a black and olive and a little bit of yellow. And these are colors I am more likely to use than maybe the Lila palette, which is more that purpley pink. I don't wear a lot of really bright purples or pinks. Or the, I really loved, was it the Star palette? That one was beautiful, but I just didn't see myself wearing those colors enough either. And out of all the larger palettes, I really wanted the blue-brown palette. No, green brown palette, the really big $230 one, but I was like, I'm never spending that much on an eyeshadow palette. It's not happening. And I feel like even when you spend $100, it is one of those things where I really have to be convinced. I really have to be convinced. And the colors alone, and today, just as easily as they blend, I'm not disappointed at all. All right, let's throw something shimmery on the lid because we must. I'm gonna go for this shade here called Blaze. This is, oh my goodness. I die. This is gorgeous. All right, we're just gonna, oh my goodness. Who are you? Oh, I love it. What? How did that happen? I don't even know what that is or where it came from, or it's on my thumb. I gouged it into this bottom shade right here, and then I must, you're probably laughing at me going, we saw that happen. You didn't even know what was going on. Oh no, don't be too pigmented. It can't hide you. That's totally something I would do. Totally. All right, more Blaze on the other eye. This shade right here, this is called Queen. I'm gonna use this just on the inner corner here. Oh, it's kind of falling everywhere. I'm gonna have to be easier with my pinky. Much better payoff. And it blends nicely that way. I feel like I need some color. I've got a lot of warm browns going on here, and I thought it might be interesting to pull in some of this olivey green shade right here. This one's called Lethal, and run that on the lower lash line. But before that, actually, let's start with that one and see how we do. I mix a few others in. Oh, that's a pretty shade. It's very yellow in tone. It's a beautiful mossy, yellowy green. I'm gonna use some of this shade here. This one's called Troop, and see if we can intensify this just a little bit on the outer corner. I don't feel like I need a lot. Oh, that's nice. And then something lighter. What is there? Ooh. There's this shade right here called Imperia. I'm going to use a smaller brush. I'm going to put that on the inner bottom lash line. I just gouged another shade. Today is not my day. Oh, that's gorgeous. So as I mixed all of these kind of olivey green shades right along the bottom here, I love the way it looks. I've got Troop on the outside, I have Lethal in the middle, and then Imperia, this more really bright gold on the inside corner. But as I'm looking at it, I feel a little scattered because I've got this warm bronzy up here with more of a champagne shade, and then these greens down here. Maybe it just needs some liner. I feel like this is why I've been loving smaller palettes, because it limits the amount of time I can go, oh, you, and like use every color in the palette. And there's no way I can use, oh, I'm getting my fingers all in this. There's no way I can use every color in this palette in a cohesive look. It's too much. It's 28 shades, but it's beautiful. This is gonna need some more time and some more, let's try different things. But I'm gonna pick up some of this shade here. This is called Orium. And I might see if I can marry the bottom lash line and the upper lash line kind of inner corner together. This may be a disaster, because this looks like it's kind of a way to pull the two together. We'll see. It's not quite gold and it's not quite champagne. It's kind of a, yeah, that works. I don't know that I would wear these shades again, but very, very pretty. I'm gonna pick up a slightly deeper shade, this bottom shade here, and the bottom is Azoic. I'm going to put a little bit of that right on the outer corner to deepen. I feel like we need just a little depth right out here. Just kind of pat it in. If I keep messing with this eye look, it's just going to be more and more and more, and I like what I got going on the top. I like what I've got going on the bottom. I think next time I'll use maybe the greens all over the eye. I'm going to throw on some milk liner in CEO in my upper waterline and some mascara, and I'll be right back. So as I wait for the little bit of mascara I got on my eyelid to set so I can just wipe it off with a Q-tip, I'm going to throw on some of the Balm's Balm Beach. I have really been loving very neutrally nude blushes when I have a more intense eye look going on, but I do need some color to my cheeks. I have their Bring Home the Bronze bronzer on. I do love the Balm cheek products quite a lot. I think they're really nice. And I think that this is a really pretty neutrally color. It's a little bit warm without being too much because I've got for me, this is a fairly bold eye. I normally don't wear this much or this bright every day, but I do like playing with it, that's for sure. And I feel like, look at it, I'm just going more and more and more, and it's working just fine. All right, so time to put on a little highlight. It's been a while since I pulled out this. This is from Flower Beauty. This is their Shimmer and Strobe highlighting palette, and I just kind of like go across all of them, tap off the excess, not eggs, the excess, and apply it to the high points of my cheeks and just above my brows, especially right over the arch. Gives a little lift. It can be a lot if you're not careful. I have another highlighting trio that I think is really similar to this. It's the one from Charlotte Tilbury, the Bar of Gold palette, and I think they're very, might be interesting to swatch those side by side and see. Oh, that's a lot on my chin. I'm gonna wipe off my brush over here, and then we'll see if we can blend in the chin and the upper cupid's bow area, because I might have overdone a little bit. That's when I just take my powder brush, whatever residual is on there, and just kind of tap it out over the top, because I love a highlight, but I don't like to look like the Tin Man. Oh, I really like these eyeshadows a lot. So let's throw on some lipstick. I've been trying to figure out what sort of lip I want to do with this. Maybe something more warmish. Let me see what I have. Oh, this might be pretty. This is an ultra blotted lip from Colourpop. This is the shade Scenic Root. Oh, this might be just the thing. I do like the ultra blotted formula out of all their liquid type lipsticks. This is my favorite. The satin one is okay. I don't reach for that one very often, but I tend to reach for the ultra blotted over a lot of the, I don't wear the matte one at all. I do have some of the satin, but the ultra blotted is my favorite. Oh, I love this shade. I will tell you, I really like this palette. I've only used, oh, let's count how many we used today. So out of the 28 in here, I've only used 8, but I love it. Oh, I'm so excited. I haven't really done any like swatching. Should we do some of that? This is the first row right here. So pretty. This is row 2. It's hard to see, but there is a very shimmery champagne shade over here. But it looks like it's very close to my skin tone. But this is very warm except for this pop of blue right here. It's a very beautiful, metallic, almost peacocky type of blue. This is row 3. What's interesting about it is this blue and this green have a very interesting formula. It's almost like a cream, but it's matte. It's very interesting, very intriguing. I do really love this shade here and this one here. I think this would be a great like one shadow look, but this would be great for accenting like the middle of the lid. There are just some gorgeous shades. This is the 4th and final row of this palette. Again, this shade here is one of those more cream but matte shades. It's really, really beautiful. And this red here, I don't know if you can see it the way it catches the light. It's very, very metallic. By the way, these more deeper kind of creamy matte shades, they do leave my fingers a little bit. I mean, you can keep wiping. I have just a regular wipe here that I'm wiping my fingers on. But it does actually stain. So I'm curious about how it might come off beautifully just with eye makeup remover or a oil based cleanser or something like a double cleanse if you do like a balm cleanser or an oil cleanser and then a regular cleanser. But I do notice that when I wipe these shades off, it's those blue ones, those blues and greens that are more of that creamy formula that kind of really stick around. Just something to note. I haven't tried them on the eyes yet. I am interested to see how they work and especially how they blend. And would it be better to apply it with a finger or a brush? I think a brush would probably work just fine. But I'm very happy with this eye look. It's time for me to start venturing into more of the blues and greens in here. And I love that there's a lot of mustardy type shades, just like right in through here. I think this palette is phenomenal. I think out of all of the larger Natasha Denona palettes, this is the one that really suits my ability to use it multiple times. I don't want to spend $129 on a product like this and have it be full of really beautiful shades, but shades that I know I will not regularly use. These are shades that have really been calling my name, especially these olivey tones, these more mustardy tones, and there's enough, you know, pops of blue in here to make it interesting if I wanted to do something like that. But it's very much a neutrals palette. As I was thinking about it, I was like, these pans look smaller than the average Natasha Denona. This is this palette here. This is the Holiday palette. This is the Aries. And the size of these pans are significantly smaller. They're about half the size, but I don't know when I would ever be able to use something up that's this size. But these size, yeah. I could definitely see myself being able to hit pan on something like this if I have a favorite shade in here. And I feel like with this many colors, you don't need a lot of product. I think that the other palette that I have from Natasha Denona, it's the same, it's older packaging, but it's the same size as these guys here. These are all the same size pans, and I think these are the size of pans that come in like the Lila palette, the Gold palette, the Safari palette, the Biba palette. They're more this size here. Out of all the Natasha Denona, I mean, these are the only two that I have. I use this one more than this one, but I do feel like this Metropolis palette, this is going to be like everything I love about the formula, the ease of blending, not just the shades, but the fact that you have a multiple variety of finishes in here. I do feel like the shades go well, and that it is a warmer palette. I feel like I'm more likely to use something like this than I would have maybe the Lila palette. Or the ones like those Sunset and Sunrise palettes, those were too warm for me. And you get some of the warmer shades in here, but you also get a lot of other earthy tones, and that really helps to balance it out for me. So for me, and I know what my regular makeup uses will be, this is fantastic. I'm so excited to have it. I hope this was fun. Long. It's been so long since I recorded a video. I feel like I had to tell you everything. So let me know, are larger palettes like this with this huge amount of colors in here, are these interesting to you, or are they kind of like, that's too much? I myself prefer a palette that's smaller like this, because then I have a limited number. I have 5 shades, and I know that with these 5 shades, I can create a cohesive look with these guys, or with these guys. And it tends to be easier for me, and I tend to get less of like all the colors on all the eyes. But I think it's fun, and I think it's a great investment if you like high quality eyeshadows. All right, so there we go. Thanks for watching today. Sorry it was long, sorry it was rambly. Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye.